Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host, Felty Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Beyond the Gates, December 15th through the 20th. I do appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also subscribe. Leave your comments. Now let's get into these week's episodes. All right, y'all. So we're going to be covering a variety of topics, but I'm glad that the Duprees were head of this week, and we got to see what was going on with them, besides seeing some of the more secondary characters carry the shows. So we'll be talking about Anita's distressing phone call, Vernon's secrets, Haley's past, coming back to possibly bite her in the butt, Bill and Joey, possibly Bill going into the political realm. And there's also some type of crossover hints as something in the future, possibly with Bill, Michael Baldwin, maybe Lauren Finmore from The Young and the Restless. And Nicole, she's beginning a new phase in her life. So, let's start off with Miss Haley. There's a new woman that has come, that's in town, a new cast member, in Bill's office, needing Bill's help. Haley walks in, and this woman is almost ready to call her by another name. Obviously, Lynette and Haley know each other. After we thought that Haley didn't have nothing going on with herself, all her siblings and all that, but a new character's in town, and now we got Haley kind of a little nervous as to what this woman is here. Lynette's here because of an embezzlement case that she's been accused of, and she claims that she's been recommended by Bill to help her out of this situation because she says that she's innocent. Anita, she's having breakfast with Nicole when she gets a phone call from Dr. Wanting to do an immediate scan on a lesion that's been found in the matriarch's breast. During this week, we found out a little bit. We got some teaching as in regards to getting these biopsies and what happens, especially with black women. I appreciate them doing their education. It felt a little Grey's Anatomy-like, as even though you get the drama, you get some education on stuff, or even things are a little bit more dramatized even in that area. But anyways, it's normally with these biopsies, it's 80% of those are benign. Even though she's going to go get these tests, you see them squishing her boob, making it uncomfortable. I've heard of women just talking about how uncomfortable it is to get like mammograms and all of that. I really feel like the great Tamara Tooney, she did a great job in all of that, and hopefully she gets a nomination for these Emmys this upcoming year's Emmys, because she deserves it. She's really putting in the work. That method acting is very crucial at this point, and I appreciate what she's giving it to it. You see the emotions, you see them, how real they try to even make being in that like tunnel to get scans. You hear kind of a muffled voice and all that stuff, so you can see that her mind is racing at 1,000 light speeds per minute, you know. But anyways, but yeah, we saw that whole experience, and thank you, Beyond the Gates. Let's see, Vernon, Haley and Val, after the whole situation at Bill's, Haley and Val, they meet up at Uptown. Lynette and them catch up. Basically, they were the city girls. They were stealing, they were robbing, they lit together back in the day. Now that Haley is with Bill, she's like, is he another lick? And she said, no, this time I'm really in love. Like she's been claiming for the last, 11 months? 11 months. It's crazy, at least on camera, since we've gotten to know them. But she's trying to detour Lynette because possibly this could be a lick for them to get on. Because that's what it sounded like. Okay, well, you got this going on, so let me in on it. And I think Haley knows that she has the power to shut her down. So Haley got to at least turn her to something else so that she's not all up in her business. Lynette also swears that all of their secrets will stay that way. Bill is meeting with Thomas and wants Thomas to do a deep dive on Lynette just to make sure, is it even worth trying to fight? Um, After Haley gets back to the office, Bill asks her about how does she feel about Lynette, what's the opinion on her. She ends up saying that she barely knows her or barely talks to her. So she's acting like she don't know her whatsoever. I kind of wish the reveals were in reverse. Meaning, Lynette should have came first before we knew anything about her connection to Randy. That's my opinion, because although we know that she don't really love Bill, which is weird, but she's still trying to get Bill to have all her attention. I don't know if it was a trigger when she knew that Bill was so still heavily involved. Okay, so I'm just going to take him up out of here, instead of over time making sure that I can get what I came for, you know? I just don't know what happened there. I think Lynette should have came in town first, because I would have loved to see her on her heels. Because now that we see this all of a sudden mastermind heartbreaker, it's just like, it's interesting because it's like finally Haley got something to do and we want Bill to pay for all the crap that he's done. But it's like, okay, there's been no type of sign that anything has been wrong. We still don't know if there was a real baby or not. That hasn't really been confirmed. They done dropped that story and now have picked this up. When they say, when the writers say, oh, this has been months out of planning, it can't be. I mean, of course they shot, I think they got like 6 months in or so of shooting, or at least 3 or 4 months. But I feel like y'all are just making this up as you go. Especially with this Haley situation. It's cool that you have this twist, but you gave no type of inkling. There's nothing that we can say, oh, so in April, that's what that meant. You know, there's at least leave some breadcrumbs for us to like table. We don't know if there's something there or not, but let me hold on to this and let's see what happens in the future. You didn't. You just had this baby come out of nowhere. She loses it. But we're still wondering, did she fake the pregnancy? Yeah, but anyways, I think, as I went on my rant, I think that Lynette should have came first and then Randy. But anyways, Vernon's talking with Anita about, they think that he wants to jet off to spend this holiday somewhere romantic. But Anita's not really feeling it because, A, she just did her biopsy, but she's not telling Vernon as of yet. They later receive a visit from Danny and Andre. Alone with Danny, Anita ends up freaking out Danny when she says that if anything happens to her, she'll take care of Vernon. Of course, Anita's not letting on to anything. However, I guess this is her way to kind of prepare Danny for what she needs to tell her in the future, because these jokers got different mixed emotions when it comes to news and how they handle stuff around here. Vanessa and Joey. Look, the actor and actress definitely have chemistry. The story is interesting. I mean, you have a good girl gone bad, basically is just so enthralled in this bad boy and now it seems so weird. We're getting some backstory as to how she actually felt, because we did not really know what was going on with this marriage between her and Doug. She shows up at the casino, making it clear to Joey that she's willing to do whatever it takes to win him back. Bird. Whack. Not Vanessa, who wanted this sense of control, this sense of leadership, this I want to be on the same level as you. Need to beg a man who you've been able to have several encounters with a man, have affairs, as you do mention in this episode. That just seems a little bit weird. And I think that Vanessa's headed down a weird path, because she really thinks that she's able to, she really thinks that Joey's in it. I still don't think that Joey's in it. Joey had a certain goal, and really the marriage was a collateral damage to him, and even off and off Doug was collateral damage for his first goal, which was to wash his money that he has going on. He's giving her every excuse to go away. Now, could he be testing her? Yeah. Or really trying to I'm giving you an out because, lady, I really don't give an F about you. You're helping me out, and that's all I really needed. Or is Joey coming from a place of having this wall up because of what his wife did to him? And this is something else that makes me feel like, okay, are you making stuff up as you go, writers? That's just how I feel, y'all. She says that if Doug hadn't died, she would have left her husband for Joey. She says that she has put everyone else first. Real estate gave her a sense of meaning, but she was still in an empty marriage, having meaningless affairs until she met Joey. I mean, she did stop. She thought that she would have equal footing with this man that she didn't feel like she had with Doug. Joey says that she doesn't have to set fire to her life just to be with him. And what about your children seeing you moving on? Vanessa was like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. So, but there's no one else I'd rather be damned with. And then Joey says that he's not going anywhere. So this solidifies their relationship. I still don't trust it. I still think she's a bird. And I think that she's going to get burned in the end. I'm hoping some of the executive producers or writers just talk a little bit more about the direction of the show, some of the characters and the storylines, and why they chose to do this and that. Hopefully someone gets them into an interview, because I just need help in just understanding. I need clarity on some stuff, basically. Chelsea and Kat, they catch up somewhere. Is it Uptown or for Jeans? Whichever one. They talk business and personal life. Madison and Chelsea are back on a great path, and now Chelsea just is 24/7 Madison. She's sexting while needing to talk with Kat and all that stuff. Kat's getting annoyed. She talks a little bit about with Tomas, because you know that Tomas wanted Kat to move in with him. Why? It wasn't that too long ago that y'all declared love for each other, and then she just finally gave up her Kat for you and broke your PP. Oh, but Kat says that she doesn't want to become someone that she's not. She looks at her Aunt Danny. She was his model, and then she settled to be Bill's wife. She also looks at her mom, even though I can't say that. I mean, Nicole is successful in her own right. She didn't stay home and be a housewife, but she kind of lost herself, and she was trying to make babies. I don't know if it was for him or what. I kind of wish they would have explored a little bit more of Ted and Nicole's problems, at least back in the day. Because it's just like, I feel like I was invested in Nicole and Ted. Of course, we didn't like him having an affair and all that good stuff. And I kind of wanted a different result of I don't know. I wish we could have really delved into what all Nicole and Ted were going through. Of course, we got to, okay, she was just trying so hard to make a baby. And then that was causing strain on the relationship, and he sought out other people at the time. I don't know. I'm probably just rattling on. I kind of don't agree with Kat, but maybe a little bit, even with her mom getting lost in a man, and then next thing you know, he cheated and made a baby on you that he didn't know about. But hey, Tomas ends up joining and tells him about his new client. Bill wanted, did I speak about it? Bill was having Thomas do a deep dive into the potential of Lynette. Yeah, just wanting to know everything about what Lynette's going on to just make sure that, should I really take on this case? And Kat is a buzz killer and trying to forewarn him about Bill and how he'll probably take advantage of him. Tomas doesn't really want to pay it any mind. He's like, look, I'm having opportunities that I never had before. I was the one that was made fun of growing up. I wouldn't be anything, but now I'm in a position of doing that, and I think that I'll be good. All I know is that people don't listen to Kat, and then she ends up being true, being in right. All right, so the next day, Nicole and Carlton, they bump into each other at the hospital. Nicole is in a better mood, and she ends up asking for an impromptu date. And of course, Carlton is obliging. And arriving at the time that Carlton and Nicole are leaving is Ted. Ted brings Shanice a gift. It's a bird feeder. In conversation, she ended up saying that she was scared of birds, and this is kind of a token of her getting a what I want to say. What's the word? Trying to help her face the fears of these birds or whatever. They even referenced Alfred Hitchcock's movie Birds, all that good stuff. So Nicole and Carlton. Nicole set up this beautiful picnic spread. Now, before I really get into everything that they got, well, I'll talk about it now. He claims a new song as they dance to it as theirs. So we went from I can't really do anything with you to now we got our own song on the first date that they actually had. Of course, the timeline is eating it up. Like, ooh, Nicole's getting it on. She can go on. Let's make note, even with this whole Carlton situation. Who brought her out of that funk? Kyle. Dr. Kyle. So, I don't think that we should count out him at this moment. Carlton's moving back in, and you got a more relaxed and happy Nicole. Nicole declares herself to being a new woman. She leans forward and plants a kiss on Carlton. She's making all the moves at this point since Carlton put himself on out there beforehand. So, are y'all team Nicole and Carlton or team Nicole and Dr. Kyle? For me, I'm leaning more towards Dr. Kyle. I'm a big fan of Greg Vaughn, so that's probably, I think I'm biased in that way. But I still also look at, he's the one that got Nicole's engines back to running again. Naomi, she meets with Leslie. Leslie is talking about that whole foundation thing that Eva set up, and now all of a sudden it's Leslie's situation. I don't understand why it is. Of course, you are the money fronter because still on Eva's, what is the word? Her paycheck can't pay for that, basically. Because why is she living in her mammy's house? Like, you can afford finer things, ma'am. It's not like you fixed it up, even renovated it. You just moved right back in there, into that dump again. Which I wish the writers would address, since now she's tennis playing. Eva, I know you didn't have certain things growing up. You're trying to fit into a world that you don't, and I don't think that you have to fit in. Just be Ted's daughter. Live off of the benefits of it, but I just don't understand. You're changing yourself just because now you have money. And of course, if you had, if we had opportunity or had more money, we'd probably take on different opportunities that we've always wanted. We have never heard of your hopes and dreams, to be honest. And is this the career goal that you want for your life? Even just being Ted's assistant. Okay. They discuss the free clinic. Leslie tries to talk a good game, but it becomes clear this is just another of her attempts to buy respect. Samantha joins to help, and Leslie waves her off, being very rude and dismissive when it was Samantha's idea in the first place. It's quite crazy how a little bit of money, when you were just eating Haley's breadcrumbs a couple of months ago, can change you that quickly. Naomi warns Leslie not to let her ego get in the way of doing something amazing, but her heart's not in it, so it's always going to be a certain way as to how Leslie approaches things. The only thing that she's now having near and dear to her is Peaches. Peaches, whom you had a very volatile relationship with, and as soon as she starts dying, Lord, when she dies, you know she's going to be over that casket, acting a fool. Jacob and Isaiah, they meet. I think this is at Uptown. Jacob tries convincing his brother to stop being a jerk and reunite with their dad. But Isaiah says that he has no interest in chasing a hater's approval. He got a point. Eva offers advice and says, forget the past and embrace the possibilities of what could be in the future. So he goes by the police station to tell his dad that he'll swing by for a visit with the family on Christmas. So he's offering the olive branch. Ted, in his warped mind, is trying to hope for a Christmas miracle in the form of Eva joining everyone, including Kat, to decorate Martin's tree. Eva doesn't think it would be a great idea. We don't either. I'm sorry, you just really act like things have got to go your way, Martin, because people are letting you off the hook in the craft that you've done. And Kat is not. This girl infiltrated our life. I don't have to keep going back down this road. But you're crazy, and you just think that Kat is the problem. No, you're the problem, Negro. Marcel and Leslie, they cross paths. Leslie asks if this is another coincidence or if he's paid to watch her just like he was at Winterfest. I know later down the line he tells exactly what's up. Samantha invites June to come to the Richardsons' home. She says June is moved to tears when Samantha insists that they are family and she should come to decorate the tree. I'm easing up at how I felt about June in this whole situation because none of this is realistic. And it was just triggering to me. So Lynette, Val, and Randy, Haley brings Randy to join them. They talk about the good old days and the crimes that they pulled as a trio before Haley and Randy took off. To me, when I thought, okay, her name is Val, I don't even think her real name is Valerie either. The first thing I thought about was Beverly Hills 90210, Valerie Malone, played by Tiffany Amber Thiessen, or Tiffany Thiessen at this point. She came on in season 5, but season 6, one of her friends, Ginger, came, and we found out that they were scammers and all that. It kind of feels like in that way, then Val wanted to gain respect into the whole gang, so they set up something for Ginger to take the fall for something that was going on within the group. Ginger came back months later to get revenge because she was jealous of Val having all this respectability now within the group and was blackmailing her and all that good stuff. That's how it kind of feels to me. Look, we got some people that do watch Beverly Hills 90210 that are writing on the show, but they're not like the main writers. They're like the outline writers and all that stuff. So they could be pitching some type of ideas. So that could be something. Just to let you know. Where am I at? Oops. No. After we're learning about Haley and Randy were the ones to leave her high and dry, Lynette says that there's no real loyalty in this game. So that's a clue right there, even as she's trying to convince Haley that she has no type of qualms on trying to get with Bill to get his money or anything. Randy suggests that Lynette may have an ulterior motive for being in the DMV. She says Bill is the only one who can get her out from up under the embezzlement charges, but Haley isn't buying it. Randy and Haley vow to keep an eye on her. Okay. So Bill and Danny, they cross paths and exchange insults about their spouses. Danny says, Haley will need a booster seat as far as the table that they were getting for dinner, and Andre is Danny's boy toy. They have a silver conversation about past holidays, and we get another flashback with Danny telling Bill that she's having a baby. I know a lot of people are just so like, why do they got these folks on here and then they don't even look like Danny and Bill? Who cares? We don't want them together. We know that Bill is in the place of, he knows that he's effed up. And Danny's okay going down that memory lane because those are good memories to her. Haley comes to the place that they're at and finds Bill with Danny. And of course, Haley's got her own stuff in regards to even Danny being there. Danny leaves, and then once she sits down and they talk a little bit, he announces to her that he wants Haley to go off the pill. He wants another baby. I think at this point, Bill is bored and needs something to do. Anita tells Vernon that she has something that she needs to tell him. Before she could tell him, Andre shows up. Andre and Vernon are pretending to help with photographing Martin's campaign, but are discussing Vernon's present for Anita. Anita and Andre, they have a talk. He admits that he has his day, that his days, the holidays are difficult for him because seeing all the happily families remind him of his late parents. But Anita makes it clear that he is now part of their family. Vernon and Anita, they reminisce about the day that they met at the march in Washington. So y'all sitting up here fighting for rights and also bagging the baddies. Is that what you're doing, Vernon? Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I got my baddie at last, I guess. He asked what she needed to tell him, but she doesn't share her health crisis with him. Marcel, along with Leslie, promises that he is not on the Dupree's clock, but wants to spend time with her. He speaks on his divorce, and then she talks about that she's only loved one man her whole entire pathetic life. That is so ridiculous. And she's deserving of nothing less than what she's gotten before. A man that was cheating on her. Marcel declares that he's not like any man she's ever known. He pulls her in for a kiss. I said, oh. I still think that he's there to throw her off and to find some information, but I guess, but at least it's something different from her just thirsting off of Ted all the time. All right, this is Friday, and Anita and the Articulates are together, and she tells them about her biopsy. Of course, they're comforting her. Tracy shares her own story about having questionable tests and how scary the process was. They try to convince Anita to be honest with Vernon, and she admits to being scared for her life. Dr. On calls and goes over the test results, and she has breast cancer. Of course, we don't want to see Anita, the matriarch, go through this, but it's a great story. I think the only thing that is just most comparable as far as emotions is when Dr. Monica Quartermain off of General Hospital got cancer. I don't know how far they're going to go into this. Is she going to have to lose her breast? Does she have to get surgery? At least we know that Anita can afford it. It would be cool to take people there because a lot of people do suffer. Even though she has money. Look, some things can't get you out of, some things money can't get you out of. That's what I think. Oh, Nicole and Danny, they sit. Nicole's pouting about how much of her life has changed in less than a year. Danny encourages her that better times are ahead. Nicole shares about the date that she had with Carlton and the kiss. Danny suggests bringing him to the party, but Nicole isn't ready to subject him to the whole family and potential questions about Kyle. Danny asks, does she think Kat will be upset that her mom is dating? Which I don't understand that. But it was more, Danny was trying to be on Kat's side for Nicole. She's acting a little bit more sympathetic towards Kat or whatnot, but it's weird that Nicole does not want to be around Ted at Martin's tree trimming party. And she's going to make plans to make sure that she's not there, but Kat has to be in certain places where she doesn't want to be at. That's hypocritical, Miss Nicole. Since you got your degree and all. Nicole calls for Carlton to ask him about coming on the date, and he said he has plans to see his niece for a holiday show, so no go. Obviously, he's taking a rain date. Andre and Vernon, they end up talking. He learns about Andre still having his condo, and he promises Vernon that he does not have this apartment for to take other women up. There was an agreement early on in his and Danny's relationship, and that's just that on that. Even though things are vastly changing for them, he says about Bill, keep an eye on him and not let him work his way back into Danny's life. Obviously, that's a little foreshadowing of something to happen. You know, Bill is that one person that was trying to look into Andre's life, so I'm sure after the holidays, it's going to pick up as to whatever's going to come as a derailment in Danny and Andre's relationship. Leslie's at the hospital. She's around Shanice and Ashley, and she's trying to ignore Shanice by trying to talk with Ashley in regards to what's going on with Peach's condition. She later goes on to talk with Peaches, and Leslie admits that Eva is getting closer to Ted, and that leaves her sitting on the sidelines. Because in your weird fantasy world, you thought that Ted was going to leave his wife and come to you, and you, Eva, and him could be a family. As if you didn't know that he had a separate life outside of you. And it's crazy that you are so jealous of your daughter, even though you used her to try to break up a marriage. That's why I know, Eva, that's your mom, but this woman is very manipulative and she don't give an ish about you. But that's my mama. Okay. She also talks about Shanice and Peach said, look, there's a bullet in her. Don't try to treat Shanice any old type of way. Leslie tries convincing Ted that she should join him and Eva, or whatever, at Martin's holiday party. Ted says, bringing a homewrecker to my son's party would not be a great idea. Duh. I mean, you got Ashley's mom to go hang with her. Leslie points out everyone has affairs, and of course Ted wants to know what he means. Well, Vernon is having one with an articulate, and she does not mean Anita. Here she goes, being a busybody and creating unnecessary trouble and trauma. So we're gonna see how this goes. I think Ted is gonna be telling Nicole something. He's gonna say whatever Leslie told him as to what was going on, and that is going to be quite interesting to see. But that's all I got for this week. Again, I enjoyed it a lot more than I have in recent weeks. I'm ready for the Christmas celebration. There's only 3 episodes next week, and I think that's going to be the same way the following week. So you'll be getting your reviews earlier on in the week next week. So I don't know when, but it'll be a lot sooner than Sunday. But I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Give me your thoughts, y'all. Like and subscribe. And until the next one, peace.